Chapter 6. Banshee. Occasionally, the people who know of me and my work will inquire a bit deeper, penning letters, calling my phone. Penny was one of them. She was a good friend of mine in college, and after graduation, she moved to Japan in the late 80s and settled there. The following is the letter she had written to me. Due to complications of the international mailing system, it reached me too late. The front of the envelope had my mailing address and hers in the corner. The backside was labeled, "To Oscar Selene." Written underneath in unstable handwriting was, "From Penelope Yamamoto." The letter begins like this. "It's good to write to you again, Oscar. I do sometimes miss our days gallivanting across campus in ridiculous clothes, carrying ridiculous ghost hunting equipment. I didn't want to tell you then, but I didn't believe you, Oscar. I didn't believe it when you said you wanted to find real ghosts. I didn't believe a single thing. I just played along because we were friends. Alyssa was the one who told me about your work. I'm not sure if you recall, but she was in European history with us. It surprised me that you continued with this extravagant dream of yours. But in times like these, I suppose I appreciate it. The truth is, Oscar, there's someone haunting me. Now, I know it may sound strange. I remember your theories. Ghosts don't just haunt. They have a purpose or something like that. But I assure you, there is a purpose here. I have a daughter. I'm sorry I never informed you, but we fell out of touch, right? This may come as a surprise, but she is 15 already. She's wonderful at the piano. She's playing Bach at 6 and singing ballads at 7. I can only say she's gotten even better since then. That's why she made it My Sensational Ayako. She was so young when she started, only 13. I can't say how adept you are at keeping up with Japan's music industry, the idol industry, but she was so beautiful, so captivating, Ayako. Do you know her name means to be loved? My girl was on billboards, Oscar, on TV shows, and of course it would make sense that I, as her mother, would guide her through this. Her company reached out to talk finance with me, and I said yes, to manage her income. That's what I thought it was, managing. Until my mother died from some sort of heart disease. The point is, I had to attend her funeral in the US. I never knew a plane ticket could cost that much. But I promised myself it was a one-time thing. I wish it had stayed that way. You have to understand, I know greed. I know it deeply. Who knows greed better than the one who lost everything and aches for it still? Aiko was still a minor at the time. I felt I had no choice. She couldn't control her money, that's all. It had to be me. It's not like I used it for bad, right, Oscar? I was only trying to help. Maybe move into a bigger house, buy new furniture, eat at better restaurants every night because my little girl, I thought, deserved that much. I was using it for her. I was. A lot of money went into buying her a spot on that award show, or that single with the country's most famous producer. I was there to guide her through a disgusting world that she determined was beautiful. I was her guardian, Oscar. And then, somewhere, and I don't know where, the smell of money became too strong. Stupid paper notes that made my paper dreams come true. After moving to Japan, my parents cut me off, and I had to make money the way everyone else did. But then, before Aiko's birth, it was never enough. I didn't have chauffeurs anymore. I didn't have a vacation home. I didn't have any friends. So the first purchase I made on Aiko's money after the plane ticket was a purse. An authentic leather one, like the one I had in college, the one I had to pawn away. I saw it in that store, sitting there in the glass. I don't expect you to understand, but it was like I saw myself. That deranged mess in the mirror. No, that wasn't me. But this? I showed it to her when I bought it. Aiko loved it. She loved most things. And she didn't spare a second glance at how much money had been withdrawn from her account. It was the first of many. That's why, Oscar. That's why I'm suffering now. 3 years ago, Aiko committed suicide. She jumped off the bridge on her way home, like she couldn't stand to see me. But who would? She must have gotten fed up with me by then. Her funeral was short and quick, but hundreds of people came to see her. My beautiful Aiko. She was loved by millions and she loved them back. all and everyone except for me. She knows, Oscar. She knows what a terrible mother I am. She knows. She was old enough when she died to recognize that the dwindling numbers in her bank account weren't just leaking from a hole, but being drained by a tap. She knows I went out and spent money. She knows I was a terrible mother. She knows, and that's why she has started to haunt me. When she does, she is dressed in one of her stage outfits, mic centered by her mouth and her hair sprayed down in place. She smiles sadly from the distance, her eyes puffy and blank with watery tears, her lips pressed in sticky pink lip gloss that hides her habit of picking at her lips. When I first saw her, I was sure I had gone mad. There was no way my daughter had come back to life. There was no way she was standing outside my door having just rung it, shyly taking off her shoes before stepping in and bowing to me like it was every other evening. I almost expected that she would greet me. "Hello, Mother, I'm home." But she didn't. She screamed, and the sound would echo in the empty halls of the now desolate house I lived in. That's when I knew this was a curse. From then on, I saw her everywhere. When I went grocery shopping, she would stand on the opposite edge of the cart and stare at me childlike, like the way she used to when she was a kid. She would smile and jump off and point to a candy bar on the shelf and pout the way she used to when she was young, and I would buy it, the candy bar, for her. Afterwards, when I took the groceries inside, she would stop me with a pale hand on my shoulder and take a deep breath like she was about to confess. But she screamed instead. Not loud, but blood-curdling. Enough to cause pain in my ears and jaw, enough to cause blood to drip from my nose. Deafening enough to squeeze the air out of my lungs so hard that I felt my ribs ache. It's revenge, Oscar. She's enacting her revenge on me. I'm a horrible mother. Because I wasted her hard-earned money, she committed suicide. I am the reason she is dead, and I am the reason she is still here, and I don't know how to get rid of her. Every day I see her on the balcony, in my kitchen. She pretends like everything is fine, and then she opens her mouth and wails until I can see her throat no longer bob. The worst part of it is afterwards, she asks for my forgiveness. It is overwhelming. She is on her knees and clutching at my thighs through my dress, crying teary-eyed with no sound besides hiccups and gasps, rocking back and forth like she was possessed. It was a mocking of the forgiveness I had to offer her. That's what it was. It was an accumulation of all her pain and desires directed towards me, and me only, her mother, her end. The doctor recommended that I get psychiatric treatment, but even there, I saw her red-eyed, chap-lipped figure through the window, staring with hollow cheeks before she opened her mouth and let out a scream. I thought it was bad in the beginning when she would see me every day to help with chores and tuck me into bed and scream before she left, but now all she could do was wail. Like punishing me with memory wasn't enough. She would cause physical pain as well. The screams brought tension to my very bones. My ears burned and rung like a dozen tiny bells had been embedded inside the day after Aiko showed up at my doorstep. If it didn't make matters worse, I now lived for 2 people. Every day, Oscar, I made 2 servings of rice and grilled fish, her favorite. You remember in school when you told me ancient people sacrificed others and left them for the gods because they were afraid for themselves? That's what this is, Oscar. I am so afraid for myself, so scared of my daughter. I will do anything to appease her. What a mother I am, fearful of her only offspring, offering her the biggest despair instead of the deepest affection. I will bring her back to life if she wants. I will let her go to the stores and buy everything off the shelves if that's what she desires, out of fear and greed to have my own life and security once again. But she doesn't want any of it. She only wants my pain. That's why I turn to you, Oscar. I need you to help me. I need you to get that thing away from me. I need her out of my life, or even better, never in it. I've never despised anything more, Oscar. I've never hated anyone the way I hate my own child now. What a horrible mother I am. How sick it makes me to say it, but say it I must. I believe Aiko is killing me. She's killing me slowly, her mother. She is torturing the life out of me, perhaps into herself. She knows my wrongs and flaws and plasters them in my face like a grotesque mirror. She is barely my daughter anymore. Gone is the loving child, and in comes the spiteful spirit. That's why I must kill her before she cries me to death. I need your help, Oscar. I need you to help me get rid of her, whatever it takes. No matter how bad of a mother I become, kill her for me, Oscar. Kill my daughter. For once and for all, Penelope Yamamoto. That is all. The letter was sent to me 6 months after Penelope died of lung cancer. She also had a severe case of tinnitus, though caused by what, the autopsy specialist is not so sure about. This case, tragic as it may be, is one of a spirit called the Banshee. Traditionally, they are defined by their wailing and their haunting, but also of the omen. Banshees typically warn of death, one of a family member, or in this case, of one's own. Perhaps if Penelope had sent me the letter early, I could have informed her. There is no way to ward off these spirits, as their intent is not, per se, malicious. Therefore, Penelope was sorely wrong about her daughter. Aiko was simply helping her mother one last time, forewarning her of her own death, easing her down into the path of the afterlife, where they could be reunited once more. This concludes Chapter 6.